Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to do a product review on a Yeti Tundra cooler. I've had this cooler for about 1.5 years, so I have a little experience with it. This particular cooler is the Tundra 45, and with the 45, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's 45 quarts. If you look at other manufacturers of coolers, their numbers generally correlate to the number of quarts. That's not the case for Yeti. The Tundra 45 is actually 37 quarts. I've actually taken measurements of the cooler and calculated that volume out. I've seen it listed on other websites as well, and it is in fact 37 quarts. This holds true for the other Tundra models also, so just keep that in mind when you're trying to compare other manufacturers' coolers to Yeti. A 45 Yeti is not the same size as some other companies' 45. So let's move on to some of the features of the cooler. First we have the latches here. I was a little skeptical on these latches when I first got this because my first thought was, okay, these things are going to dry rot. Yeti claims that these will last a long time. I haven't had any issues, but I've only had 1.5 years. But the good news is that if you do have an issue with it, you break one or a bear tries to rip into your cooler or something and damages one, these are replaceable. Also, the seal around the lid is replaceable as well. They provide a dry goods basket. This is nice if you're putting sandwiches or something in the cooler that you don't want to actually be sitting in the ice. I use it all the time for that, so that's pretty nice. Handles, it's basically like dock lines with rubber handles on them. They're pretty good. Inside of the cooler, you can see the walls are really thick on these things. That's where I guess their insulating power comes from. Pretty nice. There's your bear-proof certification that they have listed on there. The drain plug on this is a nice screw-in plug, not the pop-out plug that you get with some cheaper coolers. This thing has never leaked on me. It's pretty nice. Just don't lose it. These are also available in several different colors. I have the tan. You can get the normal white. I think there's a blue. I think for a while they were also running an orange cooler. I'm not sure if they make that one anymore or not. So just, check out their products there and get the color you want. For me, the tan works. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to fill this thing up with ice and just see how long it lasts. Okay, so a couple things before we get started with this. First, I want to note that I'm going to do this indoors, and the reason I'm going to do that is because it's a more controlled temperature environment rather than doing it outside or in my garage or something like that. Second, I also want to note that you really should preload your cooler before you put other items in it, and when I say that, I mean take a sacrificial bag of ice a few hours or a night before that you're going to go on a trip or something like that, and throw that in your cooler to get your cooler down to temperature inside. The same also goes for, I wouldn't recommend putting items in your cooler that aren't already cold. If you do stuff like that, not preloading the cooler and putting warm items in it, a lot of your ice is going to go toward bringing those items down to temperature, and you're going to lose a lot of ice real fast right in the beginning. Okay, so after 10 full days of this test, we can see that we still have ice, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the test after 10 days. So this cooler does a pretty good job. I mean, like I said, I had it in a room in the house that was in room temperature consistently all week. The room, I think, was 70 degrees every day except one day. I think it was 68 when I checked that morning. Obviously, if you're outside and you have this in 90-degree weather, it's not going to hold ice for 10 days, in my opinion. But this at least gives you a good idea, of in a consistent temperature environment, how long the ice will last. So are they worth the money? I think they're a really good cooler. There's other coolers out there that are similar designs. I couldn't tell you if they will work just as well because honestly, I'm not going to go out and spend the money on an Arctic and a K2 and so on, other brands like that, just to see if they last as long. I just can't do that, and I don't need that many coolers. So I'll leave it up to you to decide whether it's worth it to you to pay, as much as a Yeti costs, or if you want to try one of the cheaper alternatives, that's up to you also. But I will tell you that they're a very good cooler. Thanks for watching.